Oh boy.
Oh God.
I don't know what my only crime was being happy. That's all I did.
I hate you. Holy shit, Danny.
There we go. All right. Sorry. Off to a great start here. Welcome down to the Market Down podcast. It is I, Matt Cascone, and I'm here to review tonight's episode of Smackdown. I believe I have my notes right off screen. Boom. Yes, I do. So still feeling the WrestleMania not drought, but burnout. And tonight's episode was fine, but not a whole lot invested. I don't know how much they had invested either, because you may not know this, but they're on a European tour as well right now. So the roster kind of spread a little bit thin, but WWE, like AEW, has a very, very large roster. So, this is not really a problem. They can still fill a show. Right off the bat, they tell us tonight's main event is going to be Bayley, the women's champion, versus Naomi, and the title is on the line. So that's going to be our main event tonight. I've been liking how we've been showcasing the women in the main event lately. Again, though, we'll get into it later. I don't know if I would have picked this as the main event. Starting off the show, it's the number one contender match for Cody's WWE Undisputed Championship. So it's LA Knight, versus AJ Styles. It's also a WrestleMania rematch. I feel like in the old regime, this is the kind of match that would main event the show tonight on SmackDown. Again, though, we're giving the women a chance, giving them a shot at the main event. Nothing wrong with that. I'm here for it. I dig it. We talked about it last week. James described this. We thought what was going to go is that AJ is going to win tonight in a classic 50-50 booking, which is kind of groan worthy. I would tend to agree. It reminded us of Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley back in the day. Bobby Lashley won the first match on the pay-per-view. A little bit later on, they had a number one contendership match for the title. Roman beat Bobby clean, and it was just, I don't think they ever had a third match. And if they did, it didn't matter. And that's what we're kind of getting here tonight. And I thought it would work. It wouldn't have been my first choice. We also talked about that last week, that this was not our first choice of how to set this up. But I think it could have worked because, unlike Bobby and Roman, who were both faces at the time during their matches, AJ's a heel. LA Knight's the baby face. He's the guy who's on top of the world, has been for quite some time. AJ could have pulled some shenanigans to win this match. They have a pretty good match. Let me see if I wrote anything specific that I liked about this match. Give me one moment. No, nothing. Pretty standard match. I didn't watch the Mania match. I was changing seats. And AJ, it's worth noting, did cheat to win, but it was just an eye rake. No, not an eye rake. An eye jab. Put a thumb to his eye, then hits the phenomenal forearm, gets the 1-2-3 on LA Knight. Not particularly that underhanded. I mean, it is technically cheating, but like, you can do an eye poke in front of the ref and you'll get a warning. Let me get a sip here. Talking a mile minute, definitely need to stay hydrated. So I would have preferred something more dastardly, something more underhanded than just a simple eye poke. That doesn't really do much for me. And we're getting AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes at Backlash in France in a couple weeks. I'm sure they're going to have a great match. That being said, I don't think AJ Styles is doing much to wow anyone in the current time. He's still phenomenal, still great, but you have highs and lows of every wrestler. And I think right now, for me, it's kind of a low on AJ. I like that he's wearing, tights again. He's not wearing the weird pants, like the jeans or whatever. He's still got this dark persona. His tights are entirely black, but if I was going to do Cody versus AJ, me in particular, I would just do it as either an open challenge, like Cody comes to SmackDown. It's my first night here on SmackDown after the draft, and I'm giving someone an opportunity at this title, and boom, AJ comes out. I think that's a solid way to do that. Or you do a battle royal in the beginning of the night, AJ wins, he gets to face Cody at the end of the night. I don't think there's much interest here to build up a match between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles as his first challenger for a pay-per-view match. I don't think it's there. Will they put on a great match? That's entirely possible, yes. But is AJ hot right now? Absolutely not. No, he's not hot at all. And so that's why it doesn't really work for me, brother. Anyway, we're going to move on here. What do we got? Make sure we don't have any comments that I'm missing out on. Nope, we're good. We're doing good so far. Kind of doing a back to basics kind of stream. So it's just me, myself, and I. And we're going to get through this episode of SmackDown. If I had to watch it, then you have to listen to it. Anyway, their match was fine. AJ Styles versus LA Knight. What do we got next? Next up, it's a backstage segment. Solo Sikoa arrives to the arena and he meets Paul Heyman. And it's like Solo's got some new threads and Paul Heyman appreciates them. I like what they're doing with Solo here. Like, I like this direction. I wasn't super into the initial execution, but tonight I think they put in good groundwork. So Solo says, Solo asks Paul Heyman where Kevin Owens is. Kind of random, but okay, I guess that's what we're setting up. And he says that his MFT is here. I thought he said NFT, and I'm like, WWE's still doing those? Didn't the John Cena one do terribly? So yeah, his MFT, he's speaking of Tama Tonga. He hasn't explained what MFT is. Like, is that motherfucking Tonga? Like, is that what that is? Like, I don't know. I guess that's a wait and see kind of thing, unless maybe they don't even know what it stands for yet. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that's a Bullet Club thing. I know Tama Tonga. I've seen Tama Tonga wrestle. I don't ever remember being called MFT. But anyway, that happens. We'll get back to that later. Moving on. Nick Aldis is in the ring. He says some stuff. Triple H comes out. And people are happy to see Triple H, especially this one woman. She's like jamming out to Motorhead and Triple H. And it was pretty funny in the crowd. Triple H comes to the ring. And he's, touting WrestleMania again. Apparently it's another sold out show for them tonight. It's 15,000 people they were in Pittsburgh. So 15,000 sold out people in this sold out show. And they have a podium and there's a little velvet, tarp. So if you watched Monday Night Raw, you'll know that they introduced new tag titles to Awesome Truth. In my opinion, they looked awful. They basically just looked like the new world heavyweight title, but circle design, and they look like trash, absolutely horrid, so bad. And people have been complaining about the tag titles design for years as it is, and this is not an upgrade. It is not, at least not to me. Very bad. So anyway, he calls out A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory, and Grayson Waller. They are the SmackDown champs, and it looks like they're getting title upgrades as well. So they come to the ring. Grayson Waller, I like the dialogue with everybody here, but especially Grayson Waller right off the bat. He knocks on Awesome Truth, calls them the second place champions, and that they're, because if you think about it, at WrestleMania, Grayson Waller pulled down the first set of titles, and afterwards, Awesome Truth got the second set. So he kind of has a point, and that's pretty clever. So there's some dialogue about magicians and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, they unveiled the titles, and I was expecting, because the Raw titles now look like the World Heavyweight Championship, I thought the SmackDown titles were going to look like the current WWE Championship and just be a circle. But to my surprise, they're unveiled as the World Tag Team Champions, and they looked like the title belts looked like the championships from the 90s, the one that the Hardy Boys wore, the one that the Dudley Boys wore, the one that Edge and Christian wore. Those classic titles, but they're almost entirely gold. They're 5 plates altogether, the one big face plate, 2 side plates, and like 2 tiny side plates after that. And I think they look good. I think the silver ones from the 90s, the ones we just talked about, are kind of stronger and more iconic. But if you think about it, both the SmackDown and the Raw tag team titles have had silver plates for over 5 years. Like, don't go back to silver, go to gold. I mean, before they were silver, they were bronze. You remember those? So I think gold is definitely the way to go. It just amazes me that the Raw titles that are now the World Heavyweight Tag titles are such garbage looking, hideous atrocities, and that the SmackDown, now the World Tag titles, look pretty good. So nice surprise there. I like it. They insult Triple H. Nick Aldis gets mad. Nick Aldis gets mad a couple times tonight. Like, it makes me think maybe at some point we might see Nick Aldis wrestling. Like, they didn't really, I feel like if they're planting those seeds, these are very, very early, like nothing substantial yet. Like, I think, what's his name? Adam Pearce has definitely been closer to wrestling than Nick Aldis so far. Let me get another sip. You guys should chime in with the comments. I'm here solo, I'm doing all the yapping. It would be nice to see some comments, see what you guys think. That's okay. I'll continue. So Nick Aldis threatens them for insulting Triple H, and they go right into the number 1 contender fatal 4-way match. So it is the Legado del Fantasma versus the AOP versus the Street Profits versus New Catch Republic. Excuse me. And the winner of this fatal 4-way will be number 1 contenders for the new World Tag Team titles held by A-Town Down Under. And this was a fun match. I actually will give props to everybody involved here. I was especially impressed with Legado del Fantasma. I feel like some of their tag chemistry has been a little bit off lately, in my opinion, but I think they really delivered tonight. This was a really fun match, almost as fun as the fatal 4-way they had at WrestleMania last year. Remember that random tag match that was like, why is this on the card? This doesn't do anything for anything, and it ended up being a banger. Tonight, not as good as that match, but I think was still had elements of that match, reminded me of that match. And like I said, it third time I'm saying it now, it was fun. And that's what it's really all about. I definitely wrote some notes for this one. Early on, Legado, they did a cool tag match where one of them grabbed Montez from the outside, lifted him up, laid him on the apron like that. And I think it was Angel runs and does a knee, like a running knee, from what, like in between the ropes, and hits Montez. That looked impactful. It was a cool setup. It was fluid. Very, very nice. That was the first of many very nice setups and sequences in this match. Also, real quick, there was some funny signs from a guy tonight. Like, one of them was Waller eats corn the long way. He also had a Brock Lesnar sign. I don't know how this guy was getting away with so many signs, but I was enjoying it. So way to go, Pittsburgh. I keep wanting to say Philadelphia. Philadelphia was Mania. We were in Pittsburgh tonight. So what else do we have? They did a cool drop kick power bomb as well. Top rope, guys set up, hits them with the drop kick, power bomb, boom. Give me a second here. About to sneeze. Excuse me. There was a lot of all the tag teams going after AOP, like they were a big threat. Grayson Waller multiple times on commentary because they were sitting and watching the match. He said like, "I will face anyone but AOP," and I wonder if that's them just trying to book AOP as kind of like monsters and dangerous, which would make sense. But I also kind of secretly, snarkily think about how AOP like tried to go into business for themselves and do that whole show like in Europe and like screwed over a lot of people. So maybe they have heat with everybody in the locker room. I don't know. That's just funny speculation on my part. So the Street, so the Street Profits end up winning this match. They beat the Legado del Fantasma with their new finisher. There was a lot of new stuff tonight. Like Montez has a beard now, full beard. He's also got a pec tattoo. That's something new I noticed. I don't know how new it is, but it's the first time I'm noticing it. That man had another third sign to call it. Instead of Street Profits, the sign said Street Deficits. Funny, but untrue tonight because the Street Profits win with a new finisher that I thought Corey Graves called the Reparations. And I was like, what? That's the name of their finisher? That's nuts. It was not. It's called the Revelation. My mishearing, but I still thought that was pretty funny. So they go on. They will face off against Grayson and Theory, presumably at the pay-per-view Backlash. We then go get a promo from Bayley in the back. It's fine. She's talking about her match with Naomi tonight. Pretty standard stuff. They got to get through the show. They need stuff like this to break everything up. It's not good. It's not bad. It's fine. Then they go back to the Bloodline stuff. Paul Heyman said, I really like what they're doing here with Solo. You know, he's becoming like the new head act. He's making executive decisions. He's the man in charge. And Paul is very uneasy because this is not something he's expecting. It's not part of the plan. And he tells Solo, like, look, this will be your position. These will be your decisions to make one day, but not now. And I just really like Solo's reaction to this. Like, he just like cuts him off. He's like, it's like, just stop, go in the ring. We're doing this. So anyway, we go to commercial. Turns out we're getting a battle royal on Raw to crown the next women's world heavyweight champion. I like it. You don't always have to do a tournament. I like a battle royal every once in a while. And I think this is what I wanted personally. I don't know what you guys wanted, but I'm happy to hear that. So we get back from commercial. They're in the ring now, Solo and Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's doing a shtick. Solo cuts him off. A "We Want Roman" chant starts. Solo tries to talk. Crowd boos him. He's getting pretty heavily booed. And this crowd, like, they're not always super loud tonight. They definitely have their highs and they have their lows. And one of their highs tonight was with Solo Sikoa. They are booing this man, and they're booing him hard. Maybe they don't like this character direction he's going with, but it's working. Anyway, he introduces Tama Tonga. Well, not even that. KO comes flying out from the back, and he's bleeding from the head bad. And Tama Tonga comes out behind him. Tama Tonga has attacked Kevin Owens. He's bleeding everywhere like a stuffed pig. Really bad. And they break, security comes out, yada, yada, yada. It looks like Kevin Owens is going to get dragged to the back, but he wants to fight. So Tama Tonga and Solo and Paul are in the ring. Kevin goes after them. Kevin actually gets like a solid amount of offense in, especially considering how badly he's busted open and how much he's selling it. Like, it takes both Tama Tonga and Solo to defeat Kevin Owens. And this is cool. Tama Tonga takes out some security guards. I thought he might actually take out Jamie Noble, which would have been insane, but he did not. Like, during all the scuffle with all these different guys, like, maybe he mistaked Jamie Noble for one of these hired goons. I don't know, but that did not happen. What happened next? So then Kevin gets carted out. Not carted out. He gets brought out, and they leave. Nick Aldis is pissed. He's pissed at Paul Heyman. He shows Paul Heyman outside. Look what happens. He's showing one rental car smashed up against another rental car. Apparently, one car was Kevin Owens. We didn't see this happen, but this is what happened with the bloody head. Tama Tonga ran into Kevin Owens' car. Presumably, he did it for The Rock. Like, maybe that's why that wasn't a great impression. But I need some more water. Maybe that's what it is. He did it for The Rock. Still not great, but I'll get it next time. Anyway, Nick Aldis isn't happy, and he's not happy with Paul, and he's like, get this sorted out. There's not only consequences for losing, you know what I mean, which was what they talked about last week. And Paul is distraught. Like, somebody check that man, make sure he's not going to have a heart attack. Best line from Nick Aldis is he's like, I got top brass coming next week for the draft. Tippy top brass. I don't think he meant to say that. I think he just wanted to elevate it, but it was hilarious. Tippy top brass. Put it on a t-shirt, Nick. Next up, Carlito versus Santos Escobar. And God, this match is bad. It's just like, it was nothing. They've had a match already. I don't know why I know why they're doing this, but it was dumb. They're building up the story about who attacked Dragon Lee, and it's like, just reveal it already. We know it's Carlito. This isn't an interesting story. You're losing more and more interest each week that you do this, and this match was just bad. It was funny because last week Santos wrestled in a shirt and I complained. This week he didn't wrestle in a shirt, but Carlito wore a shirt and wrestled in a shirt, and I'm like, come on, Carlito, get it together. Pop that shirt off. You wrestle. You want to wrestle in shirts, you wrestle in shirts and house shows. When you're on TV, you pop the shirt off. Santos wins. What he does is there's some girl on girl interference. Zelina Vega and Elektra Lopez are going at it. And Carlito is like distracted. And when he's going back inside the ring, he's on the apron. He steps through the ropes. Santos kicks the ropes. So indirect low blow. And this is the kind of, and then he grabs Carlito and hits the Phantom Driver for the 1, 2, 3. That's the kind of move I wanted to see AJ Styles do. A thumb to the eye is really not much. Like, the ref wasn't looking when he kicked the ropes. That would have been a DQ. Or at least I think it would be. Regardless, it's a low blow. I think that as far as cheating is concerned, a low blow is more sinister than the eye to the thumb. And I think that's what AJ needed. And we didn't get that from AJ. Instead, we got it from Santos in a crappy match. I'm not big on Carlito. I don't think I ever was. I don't know. Just some people are into him. And I'm glad, like, some people are happy he's back, but he's not doing anything. And this match was not a good representation of what he can do, especially if you're a big Carlito fan. So let's just get to that thing where we find out Carlito attacked Dragon Lee. Like, let's get to that Carlito Rey Mysterio rivalry, I guess. I don't even want to see that, to be honest. It doesn't interest me. But they have to fill programming, I guess, and they got to give guys stuff to do. So we're now in the main event, and it's Bayley versus Naomi. But before we get to the main event, we get Kayla Braxton in the luxury box up top to talk to Damage Control. And Dakota does all the talking. She says, hey, Io will get her title back. This is only temporary. Damage Control is still the most dominant force, dominant faction in WWE. And the Kabuki Warriors are still the tag champs. So you'll see what happens. It's kind of funny during this time. There's like a luxury box right next to them, and it's empty, and they kind of just seems like it's always just off, like in camera, like in view. And I'm like, what are they doing here? And of course, they answer that question when Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill come into the box next to them. And obviously, they're setting up a tag match between Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair versus the Kabuki Warriors. Anywho, all the gals from both groups are going to watch this main event. And the main event is decent. Some notes here. I really liked Naomi. She hit a unique bulldog, is what Corey Graves called it. Essentially, she kind of did the 619 like rope, kick swing. But Bailey's on the inside. Like she's not set up against the rope. She's just standing. And she hits her with a bulldog. She does the swing and does a bulldog. Kind of hard to explain, but that's the best I can do. It was really cool. She did a rear view followed by this and gets a close 2 count. They go to commercial. When they come back from commercial, Naomi hits a great crossbody from the top rope. Looks really good. Later on, she hits a face buster. Also good. Bailey hits a bad elbow. That was my takeaway. And I guess I'll go on a little rant about Bailey. I've never been a big Bailey fan. I don't dislike her, though. I do like her, but she's my least favorite of the 4 horsewomen. And I think what's prevented her from getting to the success level of those other 3 women are probably 3 things. One, it's not the most important thing, but I think you look at some of the gals that they've put in the top position and they're like super shredded. And Bailey is not. And I'm not body shaming her. She's still very, very active and very can perform extremely well. But you see some people come back and like they're super shredded, like Randy Orton or AJ Styles. Or people coming in like Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, and they're the ones getting showcased. And I think that's part of the reason. So I think if Bailey got on the same routine, that might help her out. I don't think it's necessary. I'm just saying that might be a hindrance. That's all I'm saying. Like, Bailey, keep doing your thing. I enjoy it. And I'm not saying anything negative there. But 2, she doesn't seem to have bangers with anyone other than Sasha Banks, in my opinion. She's just like, she'll have good matches, but she's not having like these career moments or these like 5-star matches with anyone but Sasha, and Sasha's not there anymore. Like, she had good matches with Bianca Belair, but they were just good. And that's like tonight. It was just like a good match. It wasn't a great match. So that's an issue. And 3, I think she needs to like have more of a character. Like, I'm not sure if everyone needs a nickname, but I feel like Becky Lynch became the man. Sasha Banks became the boss. Charlotte became the queen, and they have all their, things that come along with that to build that character. You know who they are. Bailey, like, she was the hugger, and that was her thing, and I think that worked for her. And now she became a bad guy, and she just said ding dong hello, and now she's a good guy again, and I'm not sure like what her deal is. It's like she's been a fan favorite and she's been here a long time, but like, what do you tell a casual fan? Like, how do you sell her to a casual fan or like a new viewer? And the answer is, I don't know. So hopefully she can figure that out, because I do think she's talented. I do like her. I just think there's something missing that's going to, and I think it's one of those 3 things. I feel like if she can get at least one of those 3 things that I mentioned, would definitely elevate her further. And she's doing great right now too. It's nothing to be, she's the champ. She's in the main event tonight. Like, that's great. And she deserves it. But I think if she wants to like main event a WrestleMania, like the other gals that I just mentioned, she's going to have to elevate her game in at least one of those regards. I think the getting shredded thing is like the least important. But it is something to think about. Like, you know, I like these guys. I see. I should probably stop talking because I'm probably like taking myself to the grave right now, but that's okay. Speaking of guys who got shredded and got to the top, Jinder Mahal got released, and so did Xylee and Silent James. Ah, geez, I forgot his name already. But we'll get to that after this main event. So they go to the outside. This is towards the end, and Bailey hits a Bailey to belly on the announce table, and it was cool. I wish the table would have broken, but I don't think that was the planned spot anyway. But anyway, the ref's counting, and it's getting close to 10, and you think maybe Bailey has enough time to roll into the ring and then roll back out. But also just it feels like we're reaching the end. Like, what's the end here? Here comes Tiffany Stratton. It's Tiffy time. She comes in, hits Bailey, hits Naomi. It's a no contest. That's how they end this night. I mean, I don't like when they ever have a main event that ends in a no contest. I always think that's bad news. But I think it kind of worked tonight because I don't know if anyone really cared that much about this match. Again, it wasn't a pay-per-view match. Naomi's been booked not well, you know, by herself since her return. Something to note, Tiffany puts both of them back into the ring, like after beating them up, and she hits the prettiest moonsault on both of them at the same time, and it was awesome. It was great. Crowd's into it. Damage Control is into it. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are not into it. So I think we're probably getting a triple threat between these three gals, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and Bailey at the Backlash pay-per-view. I assume Bailey will pin Naomi to retain. It was interesting. It just seemed like Tiffany Stratton really has this down. Like even in that one short thing, like it was exciting, and I think that move, the prettiest moonsault ever, was better than any of the other moves that Bailey or Naomi did through their entire match. You know, I mean, I guess it's a shiny new toy, but at the same time, she is really talented, and it's hard to disregard that. So it's like you put this girl on the top, obviously, but how soon? And I think you can't do it at Backlash. It's too soon, but she's in the position at Backlash. But we'll see. We'll see. Okay, I did write it down. So today it was announced that that's tonight's Smackdown. I thought it was fine. It kind of stunk, actually. You know, Carlito, Santos, terrible. Tag match was fun. Everything else was fine. I like what they're doing with Solo. I hope he shaves his head. Like, you know, just cut off the blonde. SmackDown was fine. That's my review. In other news, there was three releases today from WWE. They released Jinder Mahal, Xylee, and Zion Quinn. Zion Quinn, if you don't know, he's in NXT. He's kind of been, I mean, I guess you could say showcased, but more just maybe not even heavily featured, but definitely featured in NXT since the start of 2.0. I've seen some of his matches. He's fine. Like, I don't know what his deal is. Like, he's pretty big. He's got tattoos, but like not terrible tattoos. He's probably a former athlete. I don't really remember. And he's had rivalries really here and there. Typically he just like picks up TV victories. I don't even know if he's ever been on one of their premium live events. I have not kept up with NXT since the 2.0 branding, so I couldn't tell you. But he definitely wasn't terrible, but I don't think he was great either. So that is what it is. Xylee, I think, is a shame. I think she was solid. You know, if you don't know, she started in the Mae Young Classic tournament. So that was quite a while ago already. Don't ask me how long ago it was, but it was at least 5 years ago. So she is the first Chinese-born WWE superstar. She started in the Mae Young Classic. She went to NXT. She kind of jobbed in NXT for a while, and then they gave her like this warrior gimmick, and it worked pretty good. Like she has some impressive kicks, I'll give her that. Um, it was weird in NXT. She had like an emperor type role. Like there was, like she was Darth Vader, and there was like an emperor, and I don't remember if they ever like revealed who that person was. This was before 2.0, like, but kind of like on the way to 2.0. So I remember she had a PLE match with Mercedes Martinez, which was fine, but it was definitely one of these matches like this is definitely a TV match that snuck its way into a PLE. She then eventually made it to the main roster. She debuted on Smackdown. She had like a kind of a cool debut. They put a lot of effort into like maybe not showcasing her, but like packaging her. Like she was the protector or something. The protector, the video not the video package, but like when she came out, they had all those graphics and whatnot, and the CGI stuff, and it was really well done. She came in and she like kicked some ass. She saved somebody, and then they did nothing with her after that, except for those dumb knockout things on Raw, which were really dumb. So she's gone. That's a shame. I hope she does. I hope she doesn't quit wrestling. I would love to see her wrestle live. I don't know where she'd be a good fit. It's a good question. I think TNA, yeah, probably TNA. I think that'd be a good solid. I don't think AEW is really looking to fill their women's roster that much right now. So we'll see. And then the big one, Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal is no longer with WWE. It's fine, but I wish he had just gotten to the Rumble this year. That was the thing. Like, he did the thing with The Rock. Then he had the match with Seth. Then he said he wanted to talk to Adam Pearce. He said, I'll talk to you in my office later. And I totally thought that was going to be him getting to be in the Rumble. He did not get to be in the Rumble. They should have, that should have been like his last big thing with them was he was in the Rumble match. But they didn't pick up on that. And I get it. It's diminishing returns. There's not much you can really do with this guy. You tried to do something with him and it didn't work. And that's fine. But anywho, yeah, this was SmackDown. For like the one or two people who stopped in, thanks. For anyone rewatching this later, thank you for tuning in. I apologize that I don't have any of the banners or anything like that. I'm working with my phone and I have no producer tonight. But you should definitely check us out on other nights, especially when we have like a full team. It's really fun and very informative and not as haphazard as my SmackDown solo reviews. But I hope you like them too. Anyway, we will be back. We might even be here Sunday. I have to double check, but I'm planning on at least watching. We got AEW Dynasty on Sunday. So that's big. That's a pay-per-view. It should be fun. And then we'll probably review Raw on Monday. So stay tuned. Remember to follow us, like us, and comment. Social media, you can find us on Instagram, X, Facebook, all the good places, and here. So with that, thank you for tuning in. Take care. Spike your hair. Woo woo. Get well soon, Matt Cardona. Sure. Bye.